Breeze has been pretty steady all day from the south, heading to the north. So the field umpire puts the ball into the air. Bogognio gets the best of it, goes very close to the boundary line out there. Pack around the ball. Umpire Kevin Osmond will come and throw the ball in. And there'll be a good crowd over at the Valley Tavern on a Saturday afternoon, as there always is.
Moments into this round 3 game in the GNFL. This quarter brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. Hello to all the team down there. Remember, you can go banking on a Saturday. You can get face-to-face service at Bendigo Bank, one of our great sponsors. Continue to support local footy and the broadcast here on Radio Mama. As Glenn said, in the forward pocket, right near the Valley Tavern here this afternoon. In they come. Conditions pretty warm out there on Mazzucchelli Oval this afternoon. Out of the pack it comes, off the boot of a Railways player into the full forward area. Up they go. The defender for Chapman Valley couldn't take the mark. The ball spills free. A bit of a soccer from the custodian for Chapman Valley, resulting in a minor score. As Glenn said, probably 2 to 3 goals favouring the northern end, the end to which Railways are kicking.
So the boundary umpire will come in, throw the ball in. No score there. The ball didn't go through the point post. So the ball comes back into play. Pack around the ball. And as you'd expect, there's a fairly congested bit of play. So they're tightening it at the moment. Railways have got a few back behind the play at the moment. And Jordan Williamson directing traffic off half back. He's getting his teammate up the ground and getting some movement there. That's Darcy Rowe. Darcy Rowe, the former Mullawa player, who's been in Perth for a couple of years, I think, has come back playing for Railways.
Yeah, Swan Districts, I think, Glenn.
Yeah, ball comes back into play. And once again, this time there is a point, a minus score on the Bambi scoreboard. And Railways go to 1 behind. Chapman Valley yet to score. Jaden Schofield, the coach of Chapman Valley, brings the ball in, and he's picked out Tommy Walker.
Tommy Walker decides to come inboard now. A well-directed kick in the middle of the ground. It is marked. They play on now, do the Valley, to the outer side. That is off Kim Schofield. He's dealt with when he gets rid of the ball. The ball goes to a bit of a contest on the far expanses of Nabwa Oval here this afternoon. The scoreboard only reading the 1 point, and that is to Railways in the early stages of this round 3 game. The ball in the middle of the ground. Mitchell Boyle hands it to the Chapman Valley custodian on the far side. Chapman Valley maybe getting a sortie forward in this early stage. Hit it into the half-forward area. Goes to ground. They play on now to the Valley. They got a bit of a defence to curtail. The defenders for not Railways, I should say, working hard, bring it to ground and bottle it up. So warm conditions out there, almost 30 degrees, maybe getting a little bit less than that now with the breeze coming in. Still warm conditions for football in May. We're talking today on Sportjet Saturday, Glenn, about stoppages in football. We're seeing a lot of them in the game. Last night there were 34 stoppages in the third quarter, which is just incredible stuff. The ball coming back into the middle of the ground now. Nice mark is taken by that player.
Jaden Thompson.
Jaden Thompson. He sends it further afield. He finds that player there in Kim Schofield. Kim Schofield has the ball now. Down the wing he goes into the half-forward area. Kobe Simpson couldn't take the mark. The ball spills free. Defenders for Railways working hard. They go laterally across goal. Pretty cheeky stuff, but they get away with it now into space. Can they continue with this? Goes to Jager Williams now. He gets around his opponent, puts it on his boot, comes down the ground in front of our broadcast position. Running onto it is Messina. Can he get there? He does. He's quickly set upon, though. The ball is taken over the boundary, just in front of the recently unfurled premiership flag.
As the boundary umpire comes in to throw the ball back into play in front of the club rooms. Big crowd here at Mazzucchelli Oval this afternoon. Much anticipated game. Goes the way of young Messina. Blake Messina for Railways. Kicks it from half forward, cooking towards centre half forward. In goes Railways now through the hard running there player of Chris Scott. Ball curtailed. Comes back towards Chapman Valley, Moody. Moody gives it back towards Schofield. Players of both clubs working hard. Ball comes out from Railways. Ben Saunders feeds the handball out towards Blake Bunter. Blake Bunter has the ball held to him. Umpire says you had no prior opportunity. And umpire Claire Knight will come in and throw the ball up on the backward side of the square at the northern end of the ground.
The ball about to be thrown up now, as Glenn said, just the northern end in front of the square, going back the way of Chapman Valley now. Kimmy Schofield racking up possessions early, gets it into space. Player running onto it is tackled without the ball. Railways have it now, but they're under pressure. Chapman Valley want to get it forward. They want to get it into their forward 50 and get some score on the board. The ball is bottled up once again and will be thrown up. Played at a frenetic pace. I used that last week, but this game is pretty fast as well. Umpires will be working to earn their money, especially the first couple of quarters here this afternoon. Ball goes up. Knocked down pretty much straight in front of that custodian. Players dive on top of it again, and the umpire goes in to relieve the pressure. A reasonable crowd in attendance here this afternoon for a big game is anticipated, Glenn. Railways had a big win over Mullawall last week. Chapman Valley, 50-odd points over Brigades, the reigning premier. One would think that Chapman Valley came into this game as favourites, with Railways having an easy win over Mullawall, one would think. Up into the air they go now. The ball comes down. Schofield, he's in it. So too a couple of other players, and they go to ground. So the ball at the moment, or the game, is being played pretty tightly.
7 minutes gone in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. Umpire puts the ball into the air on half forward. As we see Railways rebound. They go through Blake Bunter. He feeds a handball out to Williams. Williams by hand to Scott. Scott by hand to Kimberley. Kimberley runs through the centre, kicks it up towards half forward. His kick's a poor one, and it goes the way of Jaden Thompson, who started the game full of running and taken already a couple of very good marks. Thompson kicks it forward, looking for Logue. Logie couldn't mark it, goes the way of the Williamson. Williamson gets a handball out towards Matt Kimberley. Kimberley kicks it towards full forward, and nobody home there for the Blues. So Chapman Valley have matched up pretty well. And once again, Jaden Thompson gives it to Jaden Schofield. Goes by hand to Mitchell Thompson. Mitchell Thompson kicks it up towards centre wing. In goes Tom War. Slaps it out towards Bogognio. Bogognio goes the way of Burgess. Burgess goes the way of Logie. Logie's tackled, and the ball will be held up on centre wing, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here at Mazzucchelli Oval. So it is a very tight game, a very tough game, and not a lot of quarters given, not much room to move. Comes the way of the Railways player there in Flynn Dillon. He gets it out towards Moore. Moore goes the way of Williams. Williams under pressure, kicks the ball out of bounds on the full. So the ball will come back in now, and Jaden Schofield will relieve the pressure for Chapman Valley.
Pressure's coming from both sides so far this afternoon. Who will be the team that will pull away and be able to sustain the pressure? Both are handling it pretty good at the moment. Just a point on the scoreboard going to Railways, the Blues. The visitors here this afternoon. In comes the ball, goes away of Kim Schofield, quickly onto his boot. Bit of a rainmaker up into the air. Players set themselves. Up goes big ruckman in Dillon. And he fists it away over the boundary. The ball will be thrown in once again. So Chapman Valley haven't had it in their forward 50 much at the moment. The ball played mainly in the centre parts of the ground. Flynn Dillon I was talking about, the big ruckman. Will be important this afternoon for Railways, as he knocks it down again in a bit of a contest, and players dive on top of it and be thrown up once again. So let's hope we aren't calling stoppage after stoppage here this afternoon, Glenn, because it gets a little bit monotonous as the ball goes down to that player there in Adamini. Adamini tries to get it to a teammate. Bassini gets it back to Adamini. Adamini quickly with hands to Williams. Williams by foot. He finds the player there in Boyle, a little general in the middle of the ground. Boyle always finding space. He's looking for space upfield, though. He goes back to the outer side. And, an errant kick by Boyle, straight down the throat of his opposite number. That player comes across the ground now. Could be an error for an error. The bounce wasn't kind for the Railways player, but eventually comes away now of Kim Schofield. Him along with Thompson, racking up the most possession so far this afternoon for the Valley. He kicked it down the ground at centre wing. Player is quickly set upon. That's Williams. Couldn't take the mark. Goes back the way of Chapman Valley now into their half-forward area. Coming out of defence. A nice mark is taken by the defender for Railways. And that player, of course, is Riley Evans.
There goes the kick forward from Evans. Goes into the centre. They've turned the ball over a bit this afternoon, Railways. And we'll see a player caught in possession. Chapman Valley player caught in possession.
Yeah, ducked his head.
Mitchell Boyle is the player with the resultant free kick. Mitchell Boyle plays on now. Kicks it out wide. He's picked out a teammate on this occasion. And a good mark taken by the player running back with the flight of the ball in Tunbridge. Gets it for the field. And he's picked out a mate up the road in Tristan Simpson. And Tristan Simpson is marked right in the forward pocket of the Valley Tavern.
Tristan Simpson became a daddy just recently, Glenn.
Oh, well, congratulations, Tristan. Well
nice
done.
little fella.
Yeah, lovely to hear. So Tristan Simpson with the ball, kicking towards the goal end. Naturally, he's kicking towards the goal end. He's kicking to the northern end, to where the goals are. So Tristan Simpson. Railways need a goal. They've worked hard in this first term, but on this occasion they're offline, out of bounds on the full, so the ball will be brought back into play. Well, the point I was going to make, I was surprised how little they've used the interchange in the early part of this game. We've played almost 13 minutes and only seen a couple of interchanges. There'll be a lot of that happening as the season or as the game goes on, because these players
they can't sustain this level of football, can they?
They will have to be changing every 3 or 4 minutes. There'll be a cycle of people coming off the interchange benches, one would think.
Yeah, both sides very fit indeed, Glenn.
There goes the Railways, the Chapman Valley defenders who've been great so far. Get it up the ground, finds James Maverick, the doctor. He gets it up the way of Kobe Simpson, comes back towards Tyron Papertalk. He gets an awkward bounce, then has the ball taken away from him, comes back towards Blake Bunter. Blake does well, puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards half forward, looking up there for Jace Price. Ball carries that player, but Jace does well, slaps the ball forward. In goes Jaden Schofield. He's held while not in possession. Jaden Schofield plays on, uses advantage, goes the way now of Sam Solomon, and Sam Solomon is marked on centre wing.
All class by Schofield there, but I always say that he's one of my faves as he plays on now down the wing in front of my fellow commentator in Glenn Barndon. He gets it to a teammate there who plays on further afield in Mitchell Thompson, and Mitchell Thompson finds the arms on this occasion of the player in Daniel Borgono. So, big ruckman, Borgono. He played a great grand final. He's one of the differences in the grand final in 2024. He's on a pretty severe angle, kicking toward the city end or the southern end of Naborough Oval. Wouldn't be much daylight from where he's kicking, Glenn, but in he comes now. So, Daniel Borgono, see what he can do. If he's looking for the square, and he is, the ball goes over that. Player setting themselves at the back. A nice mark almost taken by the player there for Chapman Valley. The ball's brought to ground. Tyron Papertalk, ever the opportunist, tries to sock it forward, but he's curtailed in his efforts. The ball still is being held in, just in the shadows of the goal for Railways. The Railways player, luckily enough, got it to boot. Got it out of danger now. Down the middle of the ground it goes. Running onto it now is Moore, the veteran. He doesn't judge the bounce. He's judged. He's tackled. The ball's brought to ground, and a free kick will go the way of that player, and he was tackled without the ball, and that is Jesse Moore.
Jesse Moore on centre wing, outer side, kicks it up towards half forward. Up they go. Chapman Valley can't get the hands on the ball, put a good tackle on. Umpire Osborne will come in and throw the ball up. So we've played 15 minutes in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. On the Bambi scoreboard, very, very tight score. Bambi scoreboard, Railways are 1 behind. Chapman Valley are yet to score. Ball comes out of the half-back line now through Mitch Thompson. He goes out wide looking for Ringo McKenna. Matt Kimberley seems to have the job looking after him this afternoon. Short pass goes the way of Kim Schofield. As you said, Peter, he's been very prominent early. Kim Schofield plays on now, kicks it up towards half forward into the centre, where he finds his teammate there in O'Brien. Ben O'Brien, short pass, finds Sam Solomon. Solomon plays up the ground and finds the hard-running player there in Nathan Walter. Nathan Walter kicks it up towards full forward. Ball slapped forward, but only as far as Mitch Thompson. Mitch Thompson grabs the ball, kicks towards full forward, and he finds James Maverick. Maverick plays on, looks there for Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson sees the ball force through for a force behind, and Railways will live to fight another day.
The question is, should James Maverick have waited to take that kick, Glenn? But the play was probably on. He saw an opportunity, and it went begging. So another goal goes begging for Chapman Valley. Railways under pressure. The Valley putting on all the pressure at the moment. Railways, can they withstand it? There's Jesse Moore again, the veteran, as I've mentioned. Played a few games for the Blues.
He has.
Saw him in his debut a long time ago, which says a lot about me calling football. Coming down the ground to another veteran, and I'm talking about the player there in Ben Saunders. Saunders looking for a premiership. He's been hanging around for a while, Glenn, as he gets a 50-metre penalty. Don't know what that was for. You're watching it better than I.
The player mustn't have stood. The player must have
run
stood
across the mark.
Well, I'd say he played on, and you can't play on until the umpire says you
can't
can play
do that
on.
with Ben. He's a pretty good, much a Deadeye Dick. He'll kick this just on the 50, kicking toward the northern end with a bit of a breeze at his back. So Ben Saunders as I said, searching for the elusive premiership at the Blues. See what he can do. Looks pretty good off the boot, but goes far too far to one side and through for the minus score. So, let off the hook there, Chapman Valley.
Bambi scoreboard. Railways are 2 behind. Chapman Valley are 1 behind. It's a footy game. You would think it was a soccer game. 2-1 at the moment. And we've played 18 minutes in this term. In fact, 17 minutes in this first term. Good mark taken again by Ryan Forrester. So Chapman Valley defenders are working hard. I think the Railways defenders are working hard. They've been the stars so far. It's been half back line to half back line. Ball comes forward. Out goes the Railways player there. Uses his strength to use the ball forward. Sam Scully was that player. Ball taken across the boundary line. Umpire Osborne says, give it to me, boys. I will throw it up. On the outer side, just near the windsock, which sort of shows that the wind is certainly blowing to the northern end of the ground, and a pretty solid breeze it is too. So at this stage, it's fair to say that Railways haven't got value for the breeze, I wouldn't think. It's been a high contested game, and that's what we see now. Both sides and most sides, Peter, play a very, very defensive game, which you need to, but it doesn't always make for the best looking footy, does it?
No, it doesn't. As the ball comes out of a passage of play, going the way of Railways. Mitchell Boyle, his eyes light up as he sees a person able to mark in the goal square, but there is a player there in Jaden Schofield, tackled without the ball is Schofield. Advantage paid for Chapman Valley. The umpire perhaps should have brought it back. I think he was paying advantage. But Jaden Schofield, the ball is coming back to Schofield. We'll have to knock that one down then. A free kick for Jaden Schofield.
He's had 2, I think, today.
Yeah, he has. That's only the first quarter.
That's probably a bit too many.
Jaden Schofield, Captain Courageous. He's the halfback, so to speak, from NRL. I should say NFL. He knows what he's doing. Gets his little teammate down the ground. That player is Whitley. Whitley sends it out now to Ringo McKenna. Being held a little bit in this first term. McKenna, the centreman, puts it into space. Running onto it is Schofield, in that player in Kim Schofield, but beaten by 2 opponents now from Railways. But he does well to Schofield. Puts on a vice-like tackle. And he'll be the recipient of a free kick. Yeah,
Railways, they had 2 of them there. Surely they should have been able to work.
That was just desperate work by Schofield, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So Kim Schofield, who's been outstanding so far, plays on quickly, finds Mosley. Mosley by hand to Solomon. Solomon goes forward to half forward, looking there for Kobe Simpson. And Kobe Simpson is marked at centre half forward. So Kobe Simpson, who hasn't put a handle on too many so far today, plays on quickly, kicks it forward low, picked up now by Williams for Railways. He kicks it out towards centre wing. In goes Dan for Railways, playing at his new club. Ball goes the way of another Railways player who's tackled, held to the ground, and umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Time on in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton, and you wouldn't believe it. In beautiful conditions like this, Railways are 2 behind. Chapman Valley are 1 behind, but Railways can make better of it now as they bring the ball out of the half forward, kicking it up towards full forward. Ball spills, goes the way of Jaden Schofield, comes back on him. He didn't want it. He handballs it forward. In goes Railways now, get a handball forward. Picked up by Messina. Messina gets a handball forward, but he picks out Reece Moody, the premiership player, grabs it and kicks it back towards the centre of the ground where he finds Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders goes with a short pass and finds Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle runs from 55 metres, shoots on goal, and he's missed. And on the Bambi scoreboard, Railways go to 3 behinds, Chapman Valley are 1 behind, and you're on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL footy, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
Interesting game that Railways are playing today. Mitch Ball usually in the thick of things. They're finding a little space on the outside, at the fat side of the ground at times, being an option forward for the Blues. His course is a JJ Clune medalist. He too is sticking around for a premiership, I believe, Glenn. So a lot at stake this season for the Blues. The ball about to be thrown up just outside the centre square. Low scoring, as Glenn said. 3 plays 1 in favour. That's 3 points plays 1 in favour of the Blues. Umpire will gather it once again. Time ticking away in this, the first term, brought to you by Community Bank. There won't be a lot of time on, Peter. It'll be a pretty short quarter because there's not been a lot of goals scored. No. Grant Pittman at the Gerald will be listening in with Susan. They are a great pub to visit, and you can travel up to the Old Man and the Sea, a lovely bar and a lovely atmosphere, or Ben's or Bob's Bar late in the evening for a cocktail. That is the Gerald. Going forward now, coming through is Paper Talk, finding his rhythm now is Paper Talk because he gets hold of it and kicks it to the outer side. Time runs out for Chapman Valley. And is he going to have a shot? Is he? No, it is. He's
Handcards. Stay tuned to the home of GNFL football, Radio Mama.
And a very good afternoon and welcome. Quarter time at the football. A very entertaining first quarter of footy. Plenty of physical pressure on the ball carrier. And at quarter time, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralee War, the member for Geraldton, we can tell you on the Bambi scoreboard, Railways are 3 behind, Chapman Valley are 1 behind. Looking at goal scorers, well, there aren't any. Our quarter-by-quarter summaries with thanks to the City and Kirralee War. Contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day. So far for Chapman Valley, Jaden Schofield's been good off half-back. Kim Schofield's been outstanding as a rover. Jaden Thompson at full-back. Mitchell Thompson across the midfield. And Daniel Borgonio as ruck. Who did you like for Railways in that first
in
quarter,
no particular
Peter?
order, Glenn. Boyle, Saunders and Flynn Dillon in the ruck.
Okay, we're about to get this second term underway with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Ball comes the way of Flynn Dillon. He gets a handball out after winning the ruck contest. He was tough against Borgognio. In goes the Chapman Valley player, has the ball held to him. And once again, umpire Migwell will come in and throw the ball up again. The big fellas go at it. This time Borgonio gets it the best, goes the way of Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell has the ball held to him. And the umpire says, give it to me once again. So there isn't much movement. We're in the centre again, and we had the ball up 3 times. Still got the ball in the circle. Goes the way of Ringo McKenna. He feeds the handball out, but it didn't go too far. Eventually goes the way of Railways. In goes Scott. Gets a handball forward. Goes the way of Blake Bunter. Tackled high. Feeds on. It's a free kick. He's bringing it back. So Blake Bunter with the free kick on half forward. Tackled high. Nick Mosley stands the mark. So Railways go by hand. Running to get the ball now is Darcy Rowe. Darcy Rowe kicks it up towards full forward. Chapman Valley player flies high. Ball spills. Goes the way of a Railways player who feeds the handball out. But Schofield's there. Jaden Schofield goes by hand to Reese Moody. Moody kicks it up towards the centre of the ground.
Oh, courageous.
And a good strong mark there taken there by the player for Chapman Valley in Mick Horsman.
Yeah, strong mark under pressure, Horsman. Jaden Schofield dominating in defence. As I said, the quarterback playing the general back there. Goes to the outer side for Chapman Valley. Desperate to get a score on the board as they get into the pocket now. In front of the tavern, into the half-forward area. A mark here will be timed. He goes into space. Running onto it are a couple of players, including the player there in Ben O'Brien. Goes back the way of Paper Talk, who shoots on goal.
No, the ball was out of bounds, the umpire
he
says.
played on.
Yeah.
The umpire said, no, son.
It was out of bounds.
Out of bounds. But it
But
is
you
in...
play to the siren, play to the whistle.
Exactly. The ball will be thrown into deep attack now for Chapman Valley. The breeze is a factor here this afternoon. Slightly blowing across the ground, but favouring the northern end, the end to which Chapman Valley are now kicking in this particular quarter. They may bring up the first major of the afternoon. Moments into the second term. In it comes now. The ball knocked down by Begonia. Goes away of a teammate. The ball spills free. Running onto it now. There's a player in Simpson. He turns around, snaps on goal. It was touched as it went through.
Would have been a very good goal.
Unfortunately, goes through for the minor score. And that was really an opportunist attempt by Kobe Simpson.
Yes, on the Bambi scoreboard, Chapman Valley go to 2 behinds. Railways are 3. Yes, you heard me right. Beautiful conditions for footy. The wind is probably a little bit tougher than we've given it credit for. But certainly a low-scoring, hard-fought contest. Both clubs going at it very hard, as you'd expect. 2 of the top qualifiers at the moment. Expected to do well, although Towns sit on top of the premiership table. Towns have played an extra game until today. And now Railways and Chapman Valley play their second game. Towns have the bye today. Other games today. And it doesn't get underway until a little bit later on is the game out at Greenock Oval at 5:30. But that's the game between Rovers and also Northampton, and there's a game underway at the moment between Mullawar and Brigades, and we'll bring you a quarter-by-quarter score as soon as that comes to hand. Ball goes the way of Chapman Valley now. Ball spills out, goes the way of Messina. Messina goes by hand, looking out there for the hard-running Railways player, but once again, Jaden Schofield's been outstanding. Gets a short kick over to a teammate, and that teammate gets the ball forward in Whitley. Whitley gets it up towards half-forward, ball running free. And he was looking up there for O'Brien, but the ball goes out of bounds. And there'll be another boundary throw in about 35 metres around from the right point post at the northern end between the point post and the Valley Tavern.
Jaden Schofield hasn't made an error so far this afternoon, Glenn. Every time the ball has gone in cooee of him, he's picked it up and done something special with it. Leading by example is his team Chapman Valley, the Royals. The ball coming in now from the pocket. for Chapman Valley, the end to which they're scoring. Keep mentioning it, no major has been scored here at the Valley so far this afternoon. Early stages, almost 5 minutes into the second term, though, thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, serving now, Glenn, her 5th term.
Yes, and naturally very, very pleased to get back in, and certainly a very big long haul, isn't it? Working in a massive electorate, which is the seat of Durack. Ball comes up, thrown in now, goes the way of both sides fighting for the ball. In goes Kobe Simpson, puts his body over the ball. Umpire Kevin Osborne will come in and throw the ball up. So it hasn't been pretty at times, but it's certainly been well contested, and it's fair to say both clubs are going at it very hard this afternoon.
Ball being thrown up. Umpire Osborne puts it up into the air. It's knocked down by the player in Saunders, who gets a fist to it first and finds the boundary once again. The fluidity, if want for a better word, of this game is not that apparent here this afternoon. Stop-start action, but very physical. A lot of pressure being put on by both teams. The ball goes forward again for Chapman Valley. Running onto it is Schofield. He has one attempt, then two, then shoots on goal. Spins around. What's he done? Again, it comes off hands and through for the minor score. So Chapman Valley taking every opportunity in the early stages of the second term. As
we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralee Wall, the member for Geraldton. Quarter time at the football up at Mullawar, and Brigades 3 goals 6-24 lead Mullawar, 1 goal straight 6.
So her father-in-law Evan War at the game today, Glenn.
Evan War, yeah.
Yeah, Evan, yep.
Yeah. So Tom War, his grandson, playing today for Chapman Valley.
So the ball, a free kick going the way of Kim Schofield. He's been getting a few of those this afternoon, working hard. He'll have a shot on goal. He's slightly off centre here, but I reckon he's in a pretty good position. He's going to have the breeze behind him, Glenn, as he shoots toward the northern end. So Kim Schofield, can he score the first major of the afternoon and the first major in this match for Chapman Valley?
Unusual, as you say, to be talking about the first major with 5 minutes gone in the second term.
In he comes now. Looks pretty good off the boot. It's going to go across the face of goal, though. Or has it? Yes, it has, and through for the minor score. So, alas, another point on the board. But Chapman Valley holds sway, I think. I think if the board has changed,
1 point, yep,
1 point. They are 4 points to Railways 3. So they've hit the lead here at Nabawal.
Yeah, it's a very low-scoring contest. They could win in points. Yeah, but the breeze must be a lot tougher out there than it looks. It looks a fairly high breeze, and it's certainly powering towards the northern end. There goes the kick from Railways defender, Jager Williams. He's turned the ball over. He's picked out the big fella in Ringo McKenna.
Oh, Ringo wants to make this a major, Glenn.
And Ringo McKenna, the captain, says, I need to kick this goal, and it would be a big goal. He's 55 metres out, but he can kick a ball, there's no doubt about it. He would have had a few shots for goal out here at training over the time.
A few boys waiting in the square too.
Let's see how he goes. A big kick from Ringo McKenna.
That's
Looks
a nice
pretty good
one.
off his boot.
It's straight. It's through.
And he gets the first of the afternoon on the Bambi scoreboard. Chapman Valley get their first major of the afternoon. And Chapman Valley are 1 goal 4-10. They lead Railways 3 behinds. And will that open the gates? Will both sides be able to score a little bit freely from now? Both sides will tire as the game goes on. The pace has been pretty hectic. We see an interchange now as Tom War comes off and James Maverick goes back on. So an opportunity now. Railways keen to get that one back. Goals have been very, very hard to come by this afternoon. And can the pressure lift a little bit now, and a few more goals being scored this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, on Radio Mama, your home of GNFL football.
1-4-10 plays 3 points, and as I suspected, the Valley using the breeze a lot better, because it is certainly a factor, one would think, in this game. When I say that, Railways go forward, but there's McKenna again. He's the man that has turned the game somewhat, going the way of Kobe Simpson now into space. Knocked forward back to Simpson. He's got a couple to beat. Keeps possession. Comes out of the pack. Goes the way now of Kimmy Schofield, who takes a very clever mark. And he's only about 45 metres out from goal, Glenn, and will shoot again on goal, almost from the same position that he shot a couple of moments ago.
Kim Schofield goes by hand to Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson from 53 metres shoots on goal, and he's offline. And on the Bambi scoreboard, Chapman Valley go to 1 goal 5. Railways are 3 behinds. So will these sides rue these poor
Glenn, you
kicking?
can hear the breeze in our headset.
It's a lot stronger than we believe.
So it has picked up, hasn't it?
It has. As Railways come out of defence, comes the way of Sam Solomon. Ball goes in towards half forward, goes the way of Mitchell Thompson. Mitchell Thompson screws the ball around the corner, looking up there for Ben O'Brien, I should say. Ben O'Brien couldn't control the ball. Ball goes off hand, and Ben goes back in and chases it towards the boundary line. And the Railways defender, Williams, is keen to see the ball across the boundary line. So a boundary throw-in as Railways' Darcy Rowe comes off for a spell. He's replaced by Tristan Simpson. So players of both sides coming off for spell, and I'm sure there'll be a pretty quick rotation of the players as the second half develops. Boundary umpire puts the ball back into play, deep in the forward pocket, near the Valley Tavern. Picked up now by Chapman Valley's player there in Kim Schofield. Ball goes across the boundary line. Once again, a boundary throw-in. Time ticking by in this second term, and it's important that Chapman Valley keep the pressure on and have the ball in there. And it'll be interesting to see if they can get a few more scores on the board.
Ball coming in now. Kim Schofield, probably the biggest possession getter on the park. As the ball spills free, a player is quickly set upon. That James Maverick, he was dealt with. He's still down on the deck. The umpire says nothing in that, but now there's going to be a free kick paid, so we'll see what happens here. But Maverick certainly was hit a brick wall. The ball coming out of defence now for Railways. The recipient of a free kick goes away now. Vanamini down the line looking for Tristan Simpson. Through comes Schofield. He spoils. Simpson gets another opportunity. Goes back the way of Messina. Messina goes 6s and 7s. Is quickly brought to ground. Gets it away now. Back to that player in that sends it forward into space in front of our broadcast position. Goes the way now of Jayden Schofield. Inboard it goes. A Chapman Valley player is brought to ground. The ball spills free. Going back the way of Boyle. He needs to step it up for his side. Into space. Damien King has it now. He's got a bit of a room. He bounces. He goes inboard. Player running out to collect it is Williams. Williams can't take the mark. The ball goes to ground. A bit of a pack develops. There'll be a ball up just outside the forward 50 now for Railways.
So there'll be a ball up. Railways desperate to get that goal back that Chapman Valley just kicked. So the ball will be thrown up by umpire Osborne. The big fellas will go at it. And this time it's Burgess up against Dillon. Dillon falls to the ground. Chapman Valley player gets thrown to the ground. Umpire says play on. Goes the way now of Schofield again. He's got 3 to beat, but he's good enough. Goes by hand to Tommy Walker. Back to Schofield. Jayden, that is. He goes way to Burgess. Burgess gets a short pass. Goes to Kim Schofield. Back to Sam Solomon. Chapman Valley go forward again. Look for Bogogno. Bogogno on centre wing. Big kick up towards half forward. Looking there for Tyron Papertalk. Papertalk puts his arms up, gets pushed off the ball. Ball runs free, picked up by the player there in Ulrich. Ulrich goes with a short pass to Adamini. Adamini goes up the ground and finds Darcy Rowe on half back.
Yeah, starting to mop up a little bit, Railways. In that passage of play, Darcy Rowe goes laterally now. The ball is with the youngster in Bunter. Bunter wearing the helmet. Sizing up his options, comes back into Rowe now. Options downfield have been cut off by the defenders for Chapman Valley as they go laterally again. Railways finds Adamini, the captain, into space. He's looking for support out here for Messina. Messina in space, takes the mark, plays on now, but the kick isn't going to meet the intended target. It is in fact marked by Chapman Valley, and the player there to do so. Done pretty well on that occasion in McKenna. The ball will come in now. Thompson has it down the line. Like this player, had a good game last week. Talking about the player there wearing 33, Nathan Walter. Walter sends it into space. It's now picked up by James Maverick. Maverick kicks, is dealt with as he gets rid of the ball, and the ball is kicked out on the full.
Well, as long as the umpires are consistent, there seems to be the player. Oh, Maverick must be wondering.
He's targeted someone, isn't he?
He's certainly copping it, isn't he? So the ball will be brought back into play from the Railways defender. So a no score there. And the ball comes back to Railways now. Railways have got it on half back. Short pass goes the way of the player there, Ruben Ulrich with the ball. Ruben Ulrich on half back, looking the ball along the clubroom side, but decides to centre the ball and looks there for Flynn Dillon. In goes the Railways player and takes a good mark, and Elliot Delaney. Delaney goes by hand, and the ball's now with Blake Messina. He feeds it out. Finds Ben O'Brien. Ben O'Brien, the veteran, kicks it up towards full forward. Ball running free. And the ball stopped us off like a pillow and picked up now by Ben O'Brien. Comes back to Chapman Valley. Cleaned up there by the player there in Whitley. Whitley gets it out towards Jayden Thompson, who's been outstanding. Gets it out towards Ringo McKenna. and he got a googly there. It went straight past him, and the ball comes forward, and Railways have it now. And Railways have an opportunity through Damien King, who runs towards goal, and Damien King has got the first one of the afternoon for Railways. And on the Bambi scoreboard, can you believe it, halfway through the second term, Railways a 1-goal-3. They trailed Chapman Valley 1-goal-5. A 2-point ball game here at Mazzucchelli Oval.
Yes, 11 plays 9 on the scoreboard, thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Ben Saunders working hard for Railways in those passages of play, but eventually they got just desserts for their hard work, hard pressure. They scored their first goal of the afternoon, just past the midway point of the second term. It's almost half-time here at Nabora this afternoon, and we only got 2 goals. So, in my opinion, that's boring footy, Glenn. Some people might like it, but for me, I want to see goals. I want to see players running with the ball. I want to see players taking marks and, again, scoring majors. The ball coming back to the middle now. Players setting themselves. A tight affair here this afternoon. A big crowd here to witness a top-of-the-table clash, or what could be as the season unfolds, because, of course, as you mentioned, Glenn Towns having the 2 matches sit on top of the table, the 2 wins. The mark is taken now by Bogogno. Now, he has had a pretty good first half, Glenn. He's grown in stature since last year's grand final.
He's a very good player.
He certainly is, and he has the strength to go up against Flynn Dillon as well, which is good to see.
Well, he's the only 5-point player in the GNFL.
Yeah.
So he's the only player with those sort of credentials.
So Bogogno, he's going to have a big kick here, but he has a big breeze at his back, a fair breeze indeed. It is almost 4 goals, one would think. Can he utilise the breeze? It's a nice big kick. It's going to drop a little bit short. No, it's gone the distance, but through for the minor score. So again, alas, another point for Chapman Valley. They go to 1-goal-6. They are 12, and they lead Railways 1-3-9.
Well, Chapman Valley may rue these kicking because they've kicked 1-goal-5 in this term, and Railways have kicked 1 goal straight. So Chapman Valley have had 6 scoring opportunities and brought 1 goal up. So there's a lot of work to be done as the boundary umpire to bring the ball back into play. So it is on the clubroom side of the ground at the northern end. Ball thrown in just in front of the Railways coach's box. Roved beautifully by Ringo McKenna. Kicks it towards full forward. Looking up there for Tyron Papertalk. Papertalk chasing the ball. He loves the ball when he gets hold of it, but he gets tackled, flung to the ground, and he was caught in possession. Yeah. So the ball with Tyron is handed over the ball, and the ball will go up the ground because someone must have said he's got to get the ball before he gets caught in possession, and the ball goes up the ground, and there'll be a 50-metre penalty. Goes the way of Ben Saunders, who has got a couple of 50-metre penalties this afternoon. So the ball is on half forward, so it's more than a 50-metre penalty. The ball goes the way now of the player there in Kimberley, turns it over, gives it towards Mitchell Thompson, kicks it back, looks there for Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson gets around him, does the Railways defender, goes the way of Tristan Simpson. He goes by hand to Williams. Williams goes with a short pass and picks out a teammate there in Darcy Rowe. Darcy Rowe with a short pass up towards Blake Messina, who takes a very good mark on centre wing, just metres within the boundary line.
Messina back into the lineup. Played a few games last season before with the Blues. Sends it inboard. They go with this player now, and I'm talking about the player there who moves forward down the line. Railways still have possession, or do they? Player not sure what he needs to do with it. Goes backwards before he goes forward. Can they get another shot on goal? They send it inboard to Railways. They're indecisive as they kick toward the big sticks, and the defence for Chapman Valley making it hard for the Blues as the ball is brought to ground. And another ball up.
A free kick. He was holding the ball.
Going the way of Chapman Valley. Chapman Valley now out of defence. The ball is with Jaden Schofield, the coach. The architect, he sends it down the ground. He finds Mitch Thompson. Mitch Thompson now takes the mark just in front of our broadcast position for Radio Mama. Thompson sends it further afield. The mark here decisive for Chapman Valley, but outpointed on this occasion by Ruben Ulrich. His dad was a fair player for Railways. Ulrich is following in his dad's suit as he gets it away to Kristen Simpson. Simpson down the line, finds Messina. Messina beats his opposite number, sends it inboard now. The ball is with the player there in Damien King. Quickly gets it away. Eventually goes away of Scott. Trying to fit into this side. Scott puts it onto his boot. He sends it into space. He's looking for Adamini. Doesn't find that player. Outpointed by the player there in Jaden Schofield.
Did you see that off the ball?
Superb skills and dealt with off the ball, Jaden Schofield.
Ben Saunders got him.
The umpire sees nothing in that. This is where we need a review. The ball comes inboard now. Railway's looking good, going the way of a couple of players who are under pressure for Chapman Valley. Continue to put it on. Running forward is Mitch Thompson. He couldn't gather the ball. Goes back the way of Railways. Messina has it in front of our broadcast position. Gets it back to Scott. Scott does the don't argue. Gets it away to a teammate. That's Flynn Dillon. Puts it onto his boot. Puts it into space in the half-forward area. They try to send it forward. Going back the way of Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders quickly onto his boot. And he sends it into the full-forward area. And he finds a teammate who will kick it on goal now. And it's going to be another goal, is it, for Railways? Misses all and sundry. Held up in the wind and through for the minus score. So Jesse Adamini, unlucky on that occasion.
Yeah, very hard to kick up against the breeze, it would appear, as we see the big seeding machinery of the Cups family working in the background.
Incredible that passage of play, I believe, where Jaden Schofield was felled behind play, Glenn, and maybe something that needs to be looked at later on.
Well, it was on video, so that could be looked at. The ball goes the way now of Walters, who's been good this afternoon, as he was last week. He's got plenty of time, handballs it to himself, and goes back and retrieves it. In goes the big fella in Dan. He couldn't catch up. Ball comes the way of War. War slaps it over the back. The Railways player comes out. Didn't actually see the ball. And the ball comes the way now of the player there in Schofield. So a Chapman Valley player.
Kim Schofield, is it?
No, it's young Thompson.
Mitchell
down
Thompson. On the ground. Yeah, he copped it all, did Tomo.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of that going on. The ball was dropped. Play on's the call. Comes out eventually. Comes back towards Geordie Logie. Logie gets a handball out. Goes the way of Bergoglio. Bergoglio gets a big kick up towards full forward. There's players all around the ball. Ball spills out. Goes the way of Tunbridge. He sees the ball across the boundary line, or does he? Comes the way of Simpson. He handballs it forward. And Railways are out of trouble. Ball goes the way of Jager Williams. Williams centres the ball. Finds Boyle. Mitchell Boyle kicks it up towards half forward. And a good mark taken up there by the Railways player. The Railways have the ball in Elliot Delaney now. Delaney goes out to centre wing, looking for a player all on his own, but the kick drops short. But in fact, Mitchell Boyle has plenty of time out there on his own. So it seems to be a ploy of Railways. Mitchell Boyle goes out wide, under pressure. He kicks the ball out of bounds on the full.
Playing on the fat side of the ground most of the time, Glenn. Yeah. He's usually in the thick of things.
And he got pushed out of it there, he kicked the ball out of bounds on the full.
Okay, it is 12 plays 10, a tight affair, just 2 points in it in favour of Chapman Valley. They've had in their forward 50 twice to three times as much as their opponents. Glenn said they may be wasting opportunities, but the wind is fickle here this afternoon as the Valley go forward once again into space. Can they get another sortie forward as we head toward the big break here at Nabawar this afternoon? This quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. As I said, a reasonable crowd in attendance here today to see the unfurling of the premiership flag in front of the club rooms here at Chapman Valley. First premiership for a number of years here out at Nabawar, and the faithful are pretty happy indeed. The ball will be thrown up once again on the far side. Players setting themselves. Give her a whistle, but Chapman Valley come out of the better of that. Nice mark is taken down the ground by this player in Maverick. Maverick continues to get up off the ground as he's knocked down time and time again. A nice little chip pass. He's looking for Kobe Simpson. We're running out of time once again to get another score on the board. And at half-time, incredibly, in the Strennan O'Malley game day for Radio Mama, you can see...
Playing in maybe wet conditions, but we're playing in pretty warm and windy conditions. And at half-time, Chapman Valley, 1 goal, 6-12. They lead Railways, 1 goal, 4-10. In that quarter, Chapman Valley added 1 goal, 5. And Railways, to their credit, kicked 1 goal, 1. So Railways got the breeze at their back in this quarter, kicking towards the northern end. And our contenders for the quarter-by-quarter summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kerrily War, the member for Geraldton. Chapman Valley goals, Ringo McKenna has 1, Damien King has 1 for Railways. And our contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day. Peter, you're looking after better players for Railways. Who did you like in the first half?
Well, it's hard to see anyone that's standing out. It's pretty even across the board. They're all pretty tight in passages of play and possession-wise. Blake Messina probably rose to the top as a player with getting more possessions in that particular quarter. Flynn Dillon continues to do well in the ruck. And Mitchell Boyle is having a bit of a birthday in space on the far side of the ground.
Umpire Osborne to get this third quarter underway. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day comes the way of Jesse Adamini. Throws the boot on his ball, kicks it forward. and it's marked back there by Whitley. Whitley playing his 51st game for Chapman Valley. Gets a short pass to Harrison Criddle. Harrison Criddle on centre wing, puts it on his left boot. Ball drops short, comes the way of a player there in Kim Schofield. He quickly throws it on his boot, kicks it towards half forward for him. Coming out of half back is Railways. Goes the way now Williamson. Williamson gets a short pass and finds Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle in the centre of the ground. Better players for Chapman Valley in the first half included Jaden Schofield, Kim Schofield, Jaden Thompson, Mitchell Thompson and Daniel Bogogno.
You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Ball going forward now for Railways. They have the breeze at their back in this particular term. The mark is taken just the 15 metres, one would think, by the player there doing well, and Elliot Delaney. He in turn sends it further afield and finds a teammate there in Seth Farmer, the youngster. Seth Farmer, he's got a good kick on him, this youngster. Good cricketer as well for the Towns Footy Club. He'll now have a shot on goal. Young Farmer, been in my classroom a couple of times over the years, Glenn. So having a shot.
Yeah, one of the younger players in the Railways lineup, so it's good to see him there.
He's got a bit of size on him.
He's a big, tall boy.
Yes. So Seth Farmer shooting toward the northern end. As I said, he's got a pretty good kick on him. See if he'll live up to expectations. Let's see what he can do. The kick is a beautiful one.
Good kick.
A beautiful one off the boot. Straight through the middle. Didn't let us down. Seth Farmer scores another goal for Railways, and that is their second goal of the afternoon. Railways 2-4, and they lead Chapman Valley 1-6.
And the good thing for Railways, he kicked it in the opening minute, so he did it very well. So the pressure very much on Chapman Valley now, but Railways have got the use of the breeze in the quarter, so Railways take back the very narrow margin. And on the Bambi scoreboard, it is Railways 2-4, which is 16. They lead Chapman Valley 1-6-12. Ball comes back to the centre. Umpires this afternoon, umpires Claire Knight, Kevin Osborne and Cody Migwell doing the job for the GNFL this afternoon.
Brought to you by Drennan O'Malley, the home of, they are the supporters of the home of GNFL football, and Ron, John, Rachel and all the team. They'll be out here this afternoon, Glenn.
They certainly will, and they'll be enjoying what they're seeing at the moment. The ball comes out of the centre. Once again, Adamini gets in the way of Kimberley. Matt Kimberley, that is. He kicks it out wide, looking out there for a teammate. That teammate is Chris Scott. Scott does well, screws the ball around from the pocket, kicks it in towards the running player there, but Chapman Valley have a player there in Walters. He gets tackled and high, and he'll get the free kick. He's a courageous player and a very tough player.
Yeah, Dave Ferenz was pretty impressed with him last week, wasn't he?
Yeah, Nathan Walter is his name. I think
wearing the long sleeves, Glenn.
Yes, Nathan Walter. I think he comes from the eastern states, but might have played at Jurien Bay in recent times. Gets it up to Bogogno. He gives it towards Jaden Schofield. Jaden Schofield goes out wide, and on centre wing he finds Sam Solomon. Sam Solomon wanting some movement. There is a little bit, but he decides to go long. And looking there for Tyron Papertalk. Tyron Papertalk uses his running ability. Tyron Papertalk, quality player, gets it forward, but the ball drops short. A good mark taken by the veteran in Jesse Moore on half-back. Jesse Moore sees Jesse Adamini on the half-back flank. Jesse Adamini kicked 11 last week, but he's playing in a different role this afternoon. Jesse goes by hand. Gets it the way of a teammate. The ball comes the way of a player in McKenna. Goes back in goes the Railways player. Throws it out or flips it out. Comes back towards Adamini. Adamini with a short pass, and he's picked out Flynn Dillon on the backward side of the square.
Adamini probably added to those best players in the second term for Railways for mine, Glenn. Goes inboard as Flynn Dillon, and a nice leading mark is taken by Chris Scott, the former Rovers coach and Rovers player. Bit of a Rovers blue blood, really. Have a shot on goal in the Railways Guernsey for season 2025. He's got the breeze behind him. He's got a pretty good kick, is Chris Scott. Let's see what he can do and really have the biggest lead in this game this afternoon, if he can do it. The kick's a good one. It's going to make the distance over the head of a couple of players, but touched. Actually touched by the Railways player, I think, and through for the minor score. So, Railways player attempting to take a mark, but alas, touching the ball and resulting in a point. So Jaden Schofield under the pressure now in defence. Go to the outer side in front of the Chapman Valley Tavern. Inboard now. Finds a player there in Reece Moody. Moody's been a good servant for the Chapman Valley team for several years now. Premiership player. Moody looking for support downfield. Why don't you run with the ball? I always say that, but I'm no expert. He goes laterally into defence. Now, giving up ground, that's the thing I talk about. Going back the way of this player that's quickly set upon. Chapman Valley have it now as they go down the ground. Mark is almost taken by Maverick. He does well to collect it, recover, get it to a teammate, goes further afield into the half-forward area. Can Chapman Valley do something with it here? The defence for Railway is working hard. That's Darcy Rowe. Gets it over to Ben Saunders. A searching handball. He finds Adamini. Adamini has space. He bounces it once, almost twice, into the half-forward area. A bit of a contest. Up into the air go a couple of players. Jaden Schofield was one of those. Defending for Chapman Valley. He wins out to Schofield. One would think he'd win out in this passage of play. He keeps the ball in his keeping as he goes toward the boundary. That's clever play by Schofield. As he's dealt with as the ball goes over the boundary. It's the second time this afternoon, but the umpire says nothing in that Schofield. You just have to suck it up.
Yes. So the ball will be thrown back in just near the Valley Tavern pocket, and Railway's putting the pressure on with a breeze in this third quarter, the all-important premiership quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. Railways have added 1-1 in this term, and we've played 5 minutes in this third term. So still plenty of pressure on. Ball comes out, goes the way of Ben Saunders. Can he beat his immediate opponent? Chapman Valley have 3 players there. In goes Ben, puts the pressure back on the ball. Ball spills out, goes back towards Tristan Simpson now. Tristan goes forward, runs towards the half-forward line, gets a short pass, picks out a Railways player.
Tackle.
And the Railways player had no prior opportunity, and umpire Osborne will come in and throw the ball up once more. 50 metres from goal. So it's been a tough in the clinches game. The players will certainly know they've played a game of footy this afternoon. There hasn't been any easy kicks. Comes the way of Boyle. He goes by hand to player in Kimberley. Kimberley to Blake Bunter. Blake Bunter goes back towards Kimberley. Kimberley breaks the tackle, runs towards goal from 50 metres, gives it towards the player there in Seth Farmer, and he sees the ball across the line on the full, and Chapman Valley will be able to bring the ball back in. Jaden Schofield is the player, and Jaden Schofield, just as well he's fit because he's certainly had a lot to do this afternoon. He gets a short pass and he's picked out Whitley. Ewan Whitley with a short pass, an awkward kick, runs short, goes the way of Elliot Delaney. He'll make him pay. Elliot Delaney shoots on goal, and Railways have got another one on the scoreboard for Bambi. And Railways are 3 goals, 5-23. Chapman Valley 1 goal, 6-12. And a turnover, and Elliot Delaney made them pay.
Yeah, Whitley would be pretty unhappy with that, Glenn. That was a shocker. Shocker of a kick, a shocker decision, really. I have to say, because it certainly was. He should have went laterally with the ball just to make sure it was a 50-50 at least. When you're straight down the middle and you've got a lot of the breeze against you, you kick it to the wrong player and you pay the price. And it's been a turnover. Railways really have got a little bit of a stranglehold on this game in the context of the scoring this afternoon. 3-5-23 now the Blues lead. 1-6 Chapman Valley 12. But the breeze is well and truly influencing the northern end of the ground, the end to which Railways are kicking.
Ball thrown up. Goal scorers for Railways so far. Damien King has won. Seth Farmer won. Elliot Delaney won. For Chapman Valley, their only goal scorer, Ringo McKenna. Ball in the centre. It comes out eventually. Goes the way of the player there in Schofield. In goes a Chapman Valley player. Throws himself in, but well done by Railways. They clear up through Jesse Adamini. Adamini kicks it up towards half forward. Ball running free. Picked up now by Boyle. Boyle puts it on his left boot, and he's got another one. And Mitchell Boyle gets his first of the afternoon and gets Railways fourth. And on the scoreboard for Bambi, Railways go to 4 goals, 5-29. They lead Chapman Valley 1 goal, 6-12.
It was bound to happen sooner or later to break the shackles, Glenn. I will say, though, that the third quarter is an important quarter, but Chapman Valley will have this breeze coming home, but they can't allow Railways to get too much of a buffer in front of them.
No, that's dead right. If they see Railways get another 2 or 3 goals, well, it could be all over. There's no doubt about it. They need to shut up shop as best they can, but the breeze is a little bit awkward, and players of both sides probably a little bit more relaxed and a little bit slower at the moment. It's
gusty, but at times about 3 to 4 goals. 4-5-29. That is Railways leading Chapman Valley 1-6-12.
So the ball back in the centre. Ball goes the way of Chapman Valley now. But it's picked up beautifully by big Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders got the ball out, but in goes Chapman Valley's Sam Solomon, puts good pressure on, and once again umpire will let it come. Eventually it comes out. So he gave it plenty of time, but it worked, and it comes the way of Jesse Moore. Jesse Moore goes out wide and finds Mitchell Boyle on the backward side of the square. Big kick from 70 metres. Railways using the ball well, kicking towards goal, but they're offline on this occasion, and a minor score results. And on the Bambi scoreboard, Railways go to 4 goals, 6-30. Chapman Valley a 1 goal, 6-12. So in this quarter, Railways have found their trigger point. They've kicked 3 goals, 2 to this point, and we're only 10 minutes into this all-important premiership quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Mitchell Boyle very elusive this afternoon. He certainly is one of the important players for Railways and certainly having an impact. Chapman Valley under a little pressure now as Jaden Schofield tries to shut shop, as Ned said. Playing in defence, he sees a lead. That player takes the advantage, comes back now into defence. They need some avenue forward, Chapman Valley. The ball comes down the ground, going the way now of Reece Moody. Moody in turn for the Valley sends it inboard. The player's quickly set up on, brought to ground. The ball spills free. Railways will come out of this, or will they? The player is quickly set upon as he goes to ground. That player is Darcy Rowe. The umpire says play on as Ben Saunders runs in to try and collect it and finds the sanctuary of the boundary. So heading toward the middle stages of the third term, and Railways have certainly come to play in this, the third quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. 4-6-30. They play 1-6-12. The Blues holding sway here this afternoon. The ball going back the way of Boyle. He cleverly puts it over his shoulder into the space for a player to run onto, but that player wasn't quick enough. And a free kick will go the way of Ringo McKenna. So Ringo McKenna been pretty quiet by his standards this afternoon.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job on Ringo. Ringo goes out wide, looking again for Jaden Schofield. He keeps the ball in front of him with a handball, goes to Whitley. Whitley goes by hand back to Schofield. Schofield short pass, goes up the ground. He's picked out a teammate there, and a good mark taken there by Nathan Walter. Nathan Walter on centre wing. Scoreboard side of the ground with the breeze against him. Kicks up a little bit further, just in front of the scoreboard, the Bambi scoreboard, which reads Railways 4-6-30. Chapman Valley a 1-6-12. Goes the way of Kim Schofield. Kim Schofield kicks it up towards full forward. Kick. And a good mark vision taken by the Chapman Valley player there.
Great vision by Schofield.
So the Railways player was able to jump in on him there. And a good mark taken by the Chapman Valley player. Chapman Valley with the ball. Goes the way of a player there in O'Brien. It's smothered off the boot. Comes back towards the player there in Saunders. Saunders gets taken out by his own player. Jager Williams. Collateral damage was Saunders. Ball comes forward. Goes the way now of Tommy Walker. He slips over at the crucial stage, but he gets a handball forward.
Could be away here.
Goes the way of Ringo McKenna, who goes out wide looking for Sam Solomon and finds that player. All on his Pat Malone on the outer side, scoreboard side. Gets it up the ground, but Railways are there. And a good mark to relieve the pressure. Drew Tunbridge on a half back.
Yeah, falling down the half-forward area. Chapman Valley not able to penetrate. Railways doing better on the far side. Adamini gets the ball. Breaking up kicks out of Adamini, if you look over the quarters and the possessions that he's had. Ball in the half-forward area now. They come inboard. Up they go. It's fisted away by a Chapman Valley defender into space. Chapman Valley have control, but they go backwards before coming forward. The ball is with the Royals. Down the line it goes. The player running in to try and collect it on that occasion is Ryan Forrester. He's able to do so. The ball spills free. Goes back the way of Railways. They can set something up here with Scott. His eyes light up and he goes one way then the other. Shoots on goal. That's a great kick by Scott. That's another goal for Railways. And they have a command on this game for Drennan O'Malley Motors third quarter. And, of course, this is Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
So Chris Scott, good finishing there. And Chris Scott got Railways another goal. So Railways have really piled it on in this quarter. And the Railways will get their fourth goal of the term. Goals in this quarter, Seth Farmer, Elliot Delaney, Mitchell Boyle, and now Chris Scott finishes strongly. So on the scoreboard for Bambi, it is Railways 5-6-36, Chapman Valley a 1-6-12, and the ball is returned to the centre, and the umpire to put the ball back into play. So the ball doesn't go too far with the big nets at either end of the ground now, so the ball is returned to the centre pretty quickly. So players in these pretty warm conditions, although there's a fair bit of breeze out there, still pretty warm for the players, and they would be certainly enjoying the breeze, but certainly not much of a break. Ball gets spilt out, comes the way of the player there, the player in Messina, puts the ball high into the air. In goes Blake Bunter. He's tackled. Good tackle put on him by James Maverick, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up once again. So 36 plays, 12 in favour of the Blues. So Railways, who had a massive win last week against the Mullawa Club in very good position at three-quarter time. Chapman Valley will come home with the breeze, but it may be too far out if Railways were to get another goal, one would think, in the latter stages or the second half of this third term. They call it the Premiership quarter, and Railways have done everything right in this term. They've kicked goals. Ball comes forward from Maverick. He's picked out his teammate there in Michael Horseman. Mick Horseman kicks it up towards half forward, but the ball's cut off. And once again, Railways defender Sam Scully doing his job back there, doing it well. Sam Scully kicks it up along the outer side and finds Elliot Delaney on half-back. Elliot Delaney screws it around the corner. Railways player running free. In goes Tommy Walker. In goes the Railways player. Comes back towards Seth Farmer. He shoots on goal, but the ball is out of bounds. And there'll be a boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket, but still certainly very much in the danger zone for the Railways. In fact, it's a Chapman Valley free kick because it's out of bounds on the full, and the ball will be thrown back in. Yeah. So there'll be kicked back in. The umpire, the field goal umpire, boundary umpire didn't see what the goal umpire signalled, so the umpire says, no, that's all right. And in goes the player there, goes the way of Bunter. He sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw in deep in the pocket, and we've played just over 16 minutes in this all-important third term, and it is a handy margin in favour of the Blues in the context of this low-scoring contest.
Yeah, they dominated the quarter, that's for sure, Glenn. We've got a handle on this game as Flynn Dillon rucks his own ball, shoots on goal, is brought to ground, and going through for the minor score. But the breeze has certainly picked up, even at times being worth about 5 goals. If you look at the windsock from our broadcast position, straight across the ground, almost at 180 degrees at times. So it is pretty strong as we head to the latter stages of this game. But will the quarter, the 22 minutes or so in the final quarter, be enough for Chapman Valley to make amends for this lead that Railways have? We see the ball is with, looks like it's Flynn Dillon again, is it?
It is, yeah, good mark.
So Flynn Dillon has ricocheted as the ball comes out of defence, and he's having another shot on goal. Big ruckman, dual JJ Clune medalist, of course, a premiership player with the Northampton Footy Club. Did most of his juniors with Railways and has returned to the Blues. The prodigal son, you could say. He shoots on goal. It's going to drop short. A mark here as players set themselves. Will be timely for Railways. Off the back, it's picked up by Schofield. He's working tirelessly this afternoon, but comes out of defence. And the veteran takes the mark in Jesse Moore. He sends it inboard to another veteran in Mitch Boyle. And Boyle wants to have a shot on goal. He's asking, he's pleading. He says the player ran over the mark, but the umpire says nothing in that. So Mitch Boyle is going to have another shot on goal. He's got a clever goal on the run here this afternoon. He's certainly been a player that's certainly been a good ball carrier for the Blues in this encounter. So Mitchell Boyle, former East Fremantle player. A few games with Old East. So the Sharks, it's a nice kick by Boyle. The breeze has caught it and it's taken it to one side, and luckily for Chapman Valley, through for the minor score. Yeah,
it might be a very important kick in the context of the game. On the Bambi scoreboard, Railways go to 5 goals 7. They lead Chapman Valley 1 goal 6. Jaden Schofield to bring the ball in for Chapman Valley. Brings it off the half-back line. Looking up there for the big fella in Tommy Waugh, who takes a good strong mark on half-back. Tommy Waugh with the ball, looking for some movement. Kicks it up towards half forward, looking up there for Ben O'Brien. Carries that player. In goes Ryan Thompson. Comes back towards Tunbridge. He goes by hand to Evans. Comes back to the Chapman Valley player who's tackled high. And the free kick is Ben O'Brien's. And Ben O'Brien will take the free kick on the centre wing in front of Sam Scully. So Ben O'Brien with the free kick for a high tackle. Benno Saunders is back on the ground, so he's all right from that collision he had earlier with his teammate in Williams. That's good news as we see the Railways players clear it out through Tunbridge. He goes with a short pass to Adamini. Adamini, big kick, goes the way there of the Railways player who slips it over the back. This does pretty well. Ball running free. In goes Schofield. In goes Seth Williams. Well done, Schofield again. He gets the handball out on hands and knees. Goes the way of Walker. Walker goes by hand to the player there in Schofield. Schofield gets a kick forward, but the Railways player there, Sam Scully, plays cleverly in front and takes the mark. He goes to Jesse Adamini. He goes out wide and finds his teammate there in Drew Tunbridge. Tunbridge goes with a short pass and finds Matt Kimberley. So Railways are running well, and keeping the ball in their possession. Jesse Adamini, who's been very good the last couple of quarters, has the ball in the centre of the ground. Jesse Adamini goes back, big kick, up towards full forward, looking up there for Seth Farmer. The ball comes to ground. Once again, Chapman Valley clear it through Schofield, but only as far as Elliot Delaney. Delaney shoots on goal, and he's got a very, very good goal. Well done, Elliot Delaney. And Chapman Valley in a bit of bother now as Railways get their 5th goal of the term. And Railways, a 6 goals, 7-43. Chapman Valley, a 1 goal, 6-3. 1 goal, 6-12. So a very good goal there from the player there in Elliot Delaney.
Yeah, certainly an opportunist. Always the opportunist, Elliot Delaney. And he certainly didn't let that one go by without having a shot. And it paid off, going through for a major. And as you mentioned, Glenn, taking Railways to their 6th goal of the afternoon. 6-7-43. They lead Chapman Valley 1-6-12. Just letting you know at half-time, Glenn, it was 1-6 to 1-4. So things have changed quite a bit in this particular quarter. And Chapman Valley really have to turn things around coming home in the final stages. But it's like they're kicking up against a strong wall as the breeze steadily blows toward the northern end.
It certainly does. A pack develops, umpire giving it plenty of opportunity to come out. He'll have to come in and bounce the ball as we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton. And at half-time up at Mullawar, it was Brigades 8-7-55 in control up there. Brigades 8-7-55, Mullawar 2-1-13. Ball comes back out. Railways player has the possession and he stands up, and that's Matt Kimberley. Matt Kimberley with the ball. Gets a short pass forward and finds Tristan Simpson. So Tristan with the ball goes with a kick into the centre and finds Ben Saunders. Ben goes by hand to Jesse Adamini. Back towards Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders kicks it forward and finds the big fella in Dingo Dan. And he takes a very good slips catch on half forward, about 50 metres out from goal, kicking towards the end. And Dan has got a good boot on him. There's no doubt about it. He'll make the distance. And if he was to kick a goal, it would make it very, very difficult from Chapman Valley to come back from there, even though it's all pretty difficult even at the moment. So Dion Dan with the ball, and he is a very big kick. So he has an opportunity to kick to the northern end and get the 6th goal of the quarter for Railways. Looks pretty good off the boot. Goal umpire doesn't move, and he has. And Dion Dan gets another one for the Blues. So Dion Dan gets his 1st of the afternoon, and a very good goal. So it has been a very, very strong quarter. Goal scorers for Railways to this point. Singles to Damien King, Seth Farmer, Elliot Delaney has got 2. Mitchell Boyle 1, and Chris Scott has got 1, and Dion Dan has 1. Chapman Valley's only goal for the game is Ringo McKenna. So Ringo McKenna has kicked 1 this afternoon, and that's Chapman Valley's only goal scorer to this point.
And 2 players that have figured predominantly in this term for the Blues are Adamini and Boyle. They've been the difference so far, but with the breeze at their back, they've been finding avenues forward, and things have just worked out okay for the Blues. Not saying they haven't worked for it, but interesting to see what Chapman Valley and their coach, Jaden Schofield, can do coming into the final term, which is only moments away.
Yeah, the ball comes the way of Mitchell Boyle, who has been good, as Peter mentioned. Mitchell gets his kick forward and a free kick up the ground. So the softest one of the day.
Oh, consistency.
Yes, so the ball goes up the ground and we get a free kick, and it'll go the way of the Railways player who'll shoot on goal. So it'll be good to see those sort of free kicks played in the last quarter.
There, Glenn, but there's been a few of them this afternoon.
And that's the first one paid.
It is certainly true. Certainly true.
So the ball is with Railways. Elliot Delaney, who kicked a beauty not long ago, has an opportunity to get his 3rd goal of the afternoon. And he's been the difference. And he kicks a very good goal, does Elliot. And a very good goal indeed to Delaney. And on the scoreboard for Bambi, Railways go to 8 goals, 7-55. Chapman Valley a 1 goal, 6-2. And it's all been the Blues' way, and they thoroughly deserve their run because they've been very, very good in this quarter with the breeze at their back.
Certainly have. The Gerald Hotel has a wonderful bar called The Old Man in the Sea. I've only been there a couple of times, but enjoyed it on both occasions. And they tell me that's a great place to visit for a cross-section of younger and older crew if you head up to The Old Man in the Sea for a lovely night's entertainment and Fellowship, the Gerald Hotel, and mine hosts, the Pitmans, will certainly look after you.
So the ball back in the centre. Umpire Knight puts the ball into the air. Flynn Dillon has the best of it, but he knocks it straight down towards Kim Schofield, who gets tackled, and the ball is held to him. So once again, the ball will be thrown up. The big fellas go at it. This time it's Borgognio that gets the best of it. It goes the way of Jesse Adamini. Jesse gets it up towards half forward. Over the back of the pack it goes. Goes the way of Walters for Chapman Valley. In goes another Chapman Valley player there. There is Walters again. He gets it back, looking there for Kobe Simpson. Kobe Simpson's been very quiet by his standards this afternoon. Kobe Simpson kicks it forward, looking there for Sam Solomon. Sam Solomon has the ball taken away from him. Ball comes back the way of Raways. Goes the way of a Raways player there in big Flynn Dillon. Gets a handball forward, goes the way of Matt Kimberley. Kimberley goes by hand, finds the player there in Evans. Evans comes across the ground, looks for the player there in Saunders. Saunders has the ball slapped to him, held to him. Saunders cleverly slaps it forward, looking there for Tristan Simpson. Tristan soccers the ball forward, gives Mitchell Thompson the opportunity to grab the ball and kick the ball forward, and the ball goes out of bounds. But the siren is sounded. It's three-quarter time at the footy. Three-quarter.
For Geraldton, Kirrilly War on Radio Mama.
And a very good afternoon. Welcome back. Three-quarter time of the football. Radio Mama, Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day. Glenn Barnett and Peter Fraser sharing your day. Good to have your company. Round 3 of the GNFL Premiership season of the Freemasons Hotel. And at three-quarter time, Railways looking to be doing the better, well and truly on the scoreboard, and looking like they may have their game in their keeping. Railways 8-7, 55, lead Chapman Valley 1 goal, 6-12, 43-point margin. And we'll look into our better players and contenders for the Skitters Restaurant Player of the Day shortly. Goes the way of Ringo McKenna. The captain feeds it out, looking there for Harrison Criddle. Harrison Criddle gets a handball away, finds Tom War, comes eventually to Kobe Simpson. He kicks it up, looking there for Tyron Papertalk. Ball runs across the top of the pack and through for a minor score. So
just shows you how strong the breeze is.
It is, it certainly is.
Down there in moments.
Yes, so the ball quickly out of the centre, quickly into the forward line. Chapman Valley get a minus score. So 13 plays 55, margin 42 points. In goes the Railways player, and that's about the second time that there's been clashes like that. And it goes the way of Tommy War.
Nice kick.
Big kick towards full forward. Looks pretty good off the boot. And a good hand goes up from the Railways defender and off hands for a minor score. So a couple of quick points for Chapman Valley. Good kick there from Tom War and just dropped short. And the Railways defender did very well. Railways in defence, bringing the ball out this final quarter with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And the ball out of the defence now from the Blues. Comes out towards the clubroom side of the ground. Looking again for Tommy War. He couldn't mark the ball. Goes the way of Adamini. He gets it by hand to a teammate in Rowe. Rowe kicks it up the ground. In goes Walters. He's been good this afternoon, despite Elliot Delaney kicking 3 goals. Goes the way of Kim Schofield. Goes the way of Jaden Schofield. Jaden Schofield kicks it towards full forward. Where he finds Tyron Papertalk, has it bounce off his chest. Ball runs free, and the ball goes back towards Railways now. Railways have it now, comes back towards the player there, clears it for the Blues. And a good bit of play there from Sam Scully, but it lets Chapman Valley back in through Whitley. Whitley grabs the ball, kicks it towards goal, and he's offline, 1 point only. So Tyron Papertalk, if he had his time again, it bounced off his chest, and he couldn't control the ball.
I could have even marked that one, Glenn.
Well, almost.
So beautifully kicked by Jaden Schofield.
Well, I think
he'd
already spent it. I think he'd already ready to go back.
Coins.
Yeah, so the ball comes back, and a short pass, barely 15 metres. The umpire said, yeah, play on, and the ball goes towards the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. So Chapman Valley get another opportunity. They've kicked 3 behind, so they need a few goals. Goes the way of a player there in Jaden Schofield. So Jaden Schofield has the ball, goes with a short pass, finds Cody Simpson, and takes a bit of pressure, as well as holding the mark on this occasion. So Cody Simpson has an opportunity to kick
suddenly
a goal.
The pendulum has swayed, Glenn, and that breeze certainly is a big factor this afternoon.
Massive.
Because it hasn't been in the forward 50 since the beginning of this term. Totally dominated by Chapman Valley, and now Kobe Simpson will have a shot on goal just to bring the scores a little bit closer. But as we said, is there enough time to do it? Kobe Simpson, if he nails this one,
no, offline.
He doesn't. So that's going to really be a factor, the accuracy of Chapman Valley when they need it.
Yeah, another minus score. So Chapman Valley have added some 4 points in this quarter in the opening 2 minutes of this term. The final term, with thanks to GT
Glenn,
Russell Chartered Accountants.
In the last quarter, Adamini, Boyle, Saunders, Dillon and Delaney were better players for Railways.
And contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant. For Chapman Valley, Jaden Schofield continued on. Jaden Thompson, Mitchell Thompson. Nathan Walter, liked the way he's played. And Tommy Walker has also done a fair bit of work as well in defence. So Chapman Valley, their better players have certainly been in the back half, and they've really struggled up forward. So the ball, for the first time, has gone through the net, and they've had to retrieve it. So that's about the first time this afternoon. So well done to the spectator there who retrieved the ball. So the ball goes out of bounds.
Lucky there's no sharks out there.
That's right. So Railways bring the ball in now through Riley Evans. Riley Evans kicks it out towards the scoreboard side, and the ball goes the way now of a player out there for the Blues. Running hard with the ball is young Blake Messina. Messina takes them on, and he's caught in possession. And a good tackle put on him by Sam Solomon. So Blake Messina went one step too far. Gets a short pass forward. The Railways player tries to slap it forward. Goes the way of Cody Simpson. Gives it back. Comes back towards the player there in Tunbridge. Tunbridge gets the ball forward now. And we see a player getting direct behind play again. And the umpire is oblivious to what goes on. The ball goes forward now. One of the other umpires must have seen it. No, they haven't. And the ball...
No, everyone else today here has seen it.
Yeah. So the ball will be thrown back in. And I know umpires can't have eyes in the back of their head, but there was an umpire down there. So he was perhaps watching the ball too. Ball comes the way of a Railways player in Mitchell Boyle, who's been very good this afternoon. Kicks it up the ground, looking up there for Elliot Delaney, but Chapman Valley can clear through Walter. Walter gets a handball forward, goes the way of the player now in Schofield. Schofield gets a short pass, finds James Maverick. Maverick takes them on, feeds a handball out, looking for Mitchell Thompson. Mitchell Thompson gets a kick forward, but offline, 1 point. No, out of bounds on the full, I think. So Mitchell Thompson sees the ball through out of bounds on the full. So Chapman Valley are peppering away. We've played some 5 minutes in this term, but Chapman Valley haven't made much headway on the goal scoring at all in this term.
But they've had all the play in this term, that's for sure. Just haven't been able to put it away. The faithful are hoping they start doing it soon because time is ticking away. They have a deficit on the board. They are 17, playing at Railways 55. At halftime, the difference is only 2 points in favour of Chapman Valley, 43 points at halftime. A three-quarter time, I should say. So a big quarter from the Blues. But
yeah, 7-3 they kicked in the third quarter.
Yeah, the breeze is a strong one. It's about a 4-goal breeze and blustery at times. And the ball in the middle of the ground, the umpire will throw it up. Umpires this afternoon have been really tested, Glenn. This is a really tight affair. Both sides, probably one of 3 or 4 contenders this year in the competition as Jaden Schofield has quickly gathered up. The umpire says we'll throw that up once again. This quarter brought to you by GT Russell Chartered Accountants. Hello to Grant, a great supporter of the GNFL. The ball coming out of that passage of play. Messina puts it onto his boot for the Blues into the half-forward area. There's Elliot Delaney lurking, sells the dummy, gives away the candy, shoots on goal, it's into space. A mark here to Seth Farmer will be good. And the youngster does really well. The taller of the two players, but takes a fine mark and will shoot from about 20 metres, Glenn. 25.
So Seth Farmer shooting on goal, as you say, from 20 metres out, 25
Beautiful
degrees.
Kick, his last goal.
Yeah, he's kicked 1 goal already, Seth, and he'll get his second, one would think, but it is hard against the breeze. But Seth is very, very close. This is as close as anyone has got up that end. Railways have kicked a couple of goals against the breeze, and Chapman Valley haven't kicked any against the breeze. So there goes the kick from Seth Farmer. He gets his second of the afternoon, and if there was ever any doubt, there's no doubt now. Railways look on target to get the 4 premiership points. And on the Bambi scoreboard, Railways are 9 goals, 7, 61. They lead Chapman Valley at 1-11-17. But looking at the scoreboard, 12 scoring shots to some 15, some 16. So probably a little bit tighter than the score suggests, but Railways, to their credit, have been able to finish off far better a round goal than Chapman Valley have this afternoon.
They certainly have. There's been more purpose in the forward 50, that's for sure. A lot of the players, the forwards for Chapman Valley, thinking things are just going to happen this afternoon. Railways have come to play. A lot of pressure on the Blues to put paid to all the pre-season talk about their side and what they hope to achieve in season 2025. The ball in the middle of the ground is picked up by Schofield now. Working hard as always, Schofield. Dealt with again.
Jace Price.
It'll go down the field now. So Jaden Schofield, you couldn't miss that one. You'd have to be blind not to see that. But the ball will go down the ground now and Chapman Valley will have a shot on goal. Much needed goal, to say the least. Haven't scored a goal for a long time. So the player is Bogono, I think, that has the ball.
No, Mick
Horseman. The other big man, Mick Horseman. He's going to shoot on goal. So Mick Horseman. He'll shoot from about 30 when he gets onto this one. On a slight angle, kicking toward the northern end. So Jaden Schofield felled probably for the umpteenth time in this game, finally picked up by the umpires. The kick is not a good one, and it misses and through for the minor score. So, Glenn, that is the story for the Valley this afternoon.
Yes, Chapman Valley go to 1 goal, 12-18 on the Bambi scoreboard. They trail Railways 9-7. So Chapman Valley in this quarter have added some 6 behinds, and we've played some 10 minutes in this term. So Chapman Valley running out of time and running out of options. They've had 6 shots on goal. A couple have gone out on the full, and one has not gone through the major sticks at the moment. So Railways retrieve the ball and bring the ball out of defence now. Tunbridge with the ball, short pass, and finds Jesse Adamini has been outstanding, particularly in the last 3 quarters.
He certainly has. He, along with Mitchell Boyle, have certainly been the difference this afternoon.
So the ball goes out wide, goes the way of Railways now, and Tunbridge kicks it high, wide and handsome, puts his teammates and everyone under pressure. Free kick has been picked out, goes the way of Chapman Valley. They were shepherded out of it, goes back towards Mick Horseman, has the ball slapped away from him. He comes back towards Adamini. He goes backwards, looking for a teammate there to clear in Tunbridge. He goes out wide and finds Blake Bunter. And Blake Bunter marks right on the boundary line, just in front of the Valley Tavern pocket. Lots of people having a look across the fence as the ball goes forwards again. Goes the way of Railways. Comes back to Railways, and Railways can mop up through Flynn Dillon. He gets a handball forward. Goes the way of the player there in Blake Messina. In goes Railways through Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders across centre wing. Kicks it forward and finds Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle on half forward now. Turns around. Kicks it forward, but it lets Tommy Walker in. And Tommy Walker gets kicked forward, but Tristan Simpson said, I'll do something with it. I'll grab the ball, but he put the ball down. And another Railways player puts the ball down again. And the second time, Chapman Valley get a free kick. It goes the way of Reece Moody, who played on immediately. Goes the way there of the hard-running player there, and James Maverick, who did well. And James Maverick gets a kick forward, and there'll be a little bit of a throw-up here this afternoon. And Reece Moody and young Sam Scully getting involved there. Umpire Cody Miggy will come and throw the ball up.
Stacks on the mill. They both were in it and jumping on top of each other. It's pretty funny to watch as Phil Dillon roves his own ball. Goes to Adamini. At the base of the pack is the youngster Messina. He's unable to collect it, but the free kick has gone the way of Tyron Papertalk, who's come right down the ground to get a bit of a touch in this, the final quarter. Papertalk kick into the half-forward area. Up they go a couple of players. It's fisted away by Whitley on this occasion. Goes to Kobe Simpson. Back to a teammate who quickly puts it onto his boot. Goes into the forward line. Is it going to bounce through? If it bounced just one way to one side on that occasion, it might have gone through for a goal. But it's gone through for the minor score. But we see that a player is now down.
Walter.
Nathan Walter.
I think he might have cramped. I hope that's what it is.
Yeah, and hasn't done an ankle or something.
Or a
He
knee.
went down a little bit awkwardly, Glenn.
He did, certainly did. As Railways clear out of the defence through Mitchell Boyle. They're running hard. The fitness is good. They get the ball up the ground and it goes the way now of Damien King. Damien King gets it further afield and finds big Dion Dan. Dion Dan on centre wing. Came over from Brigades this year. So Dion Dan has kicked a goal this afternoon. Played well, as have his teammates. Goes a short pass and finds Tunbridge. Tunbridge with another short pass goes to the player there in Blake Bunter. Blake goes with a short pass and finds Matt Kimberley. And Walters coming off for a run. Bogognio going back on for Chapman Valley. And, yeah, he has cramped up, so I guess that's better than what the options would have been.
Yeah, the way he's coming off the ground, you'd say that's all it is, Glenn.
Yes. So he's done a lot of good work today. Walter, he's worked very hard. Dion Dan has the ball, kicks it up towards half forward, looking again for Seth Farmer, who is a very tall man and takes a good strong mark in favour of Jaden Thompson.
He's played his part this afternoon, young Seth, and
he's
really going to have another shot on guys. I said a cricketer of note with the Towns Cricket Club, Glenn, and a premiership player with that particular club this year.
Yeah, so well done to him. So he's playing good footy at the moment, and as we say, he's a very good build of a young man, and he's very tall, which helps. So let's see how he kicks from the boundary line. He comes inboard to make the scoreboard look a little bit better for him, but he kicks it and it drops short. And the player that reads it best is Jaden Schofield. He gives it away to Moody. Moody kicks it back to whence it came, but nobody there except Blake Bunter, who's picked up kicks too this afternoon. Goes with a short pass and finds Dion Dan. 61 plays 19 in favour of Railways. Railways look like they're going to well and truly grab the 4 premiership points here this afternoon, as Blake Messina gets a short pass forward and finds the big fella in Flynn Dillon. Flynn Dillon, the ruckman for Railways, always amongst their better players, and Flynn has marked 40 metres out, directly in front, kicking towards the city end.
Glenn, you can get back into town early enough this afternoon from this game. You can head out to Greenock Oval.
Yeah, the game gets underway at 5:30 there, and Rovers hosting Northampton. So good luck to Rovers and Northampton, both sides chasing their first win of the season. Both clubs look to be on a bit of a rebuild at the moment, so we do wish them well, and at least one of them will get the premiership points this afternoon. So if you want to see some good footy, head out to Greenock Oval. Rovers are hosting Northampton. As we look at the Bambi scoreboard, and we've played some 15 minutes in this final term for GT Russell Chartered Accountants, and Railways doing it well. Railways are 9 goals, 7-61. Chapman Valley are 1 goal, 13-19. So 19 plays 61 in favour of the Blues. So Railways are getting their best win of the season by far this afternoon. Last weekend, 182-point winners over the Mullawa side. And this week, it'll be a very comfortable win again against the reigning
we'll put
premiers.
them probably on top of the premiership table with Towns having the bye this week, I think, Glenn.
I don't know. Yeah, well, their percentage would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
But Towns' percentage is pretty good too, so they've had 2 big wins, but yeah.
Yeah, but the big win against
Mullawa was bigger than anything, wasn't it?
Would certainly influence that, that's for sure. Glenn, as the ball comes out of defence from Schofield once again into space and goes down the ground, can Chapman Valley get a score in the latter stages of this game as they move forward? O'Brien has the ball in the middle of the ground, playing for his 3rd club in the GNFL, of course, a Railways player, then Brigades, and now moving with his friend Jaden out to play with his friend Jaden Schofield at Chapman Valley. The ball on the far side now. The Valley coming inboard. Well, they'll have to go back to get their thinking caps on next week. And a few players out of the lineup today, but not enough to make this difference, one would think, as they go forward again now and shoot on goal. And that has been a goal in the end. And it is Ewan Whitley who scores a much-needed goal, a little bit of a belated goal for Chapman Valley. Tomorrow, Glenn, friends are on Sunday, catching up with Mayor Jerry Clune. And a couple of weeks ago, the council had its monthly meeting, its April meeting, and there was a lot of talk about the so-called jetty. But I think now, after the last federal election, I think that is something that certainly, possibly, will not be on the agenda coming in the next year or so for the current council.
Okay, so interesting. So Chapman Valley back to the drawing boards, as you say, but I don't think a loss early in the season is going to do Chapman Valley any harm at all, and it'll do them more good than harm. Of course, it's hard to keep that hunger and that run, and Chapman Valley have won the grand final, but the work's not done. They've got to go back to the drawing board, as you say, and see how they go in the future. So next weekend, a big game for us to be at is the Railways Brigades game at Brigades out at GBSC Sports Park. That'll be our Drill and O'Malley Motors game
on the veranda again, Glenn.
He will, yes, and hopefully people can see that there is someone with a camera, and they don't need to walk in front of that camera. But yeah,
we enjoy the closeness to the crowd.
Very close, aren't we? Very close to the ground, but a good game it should be. So Railways up against Brigades next weekend. Next weekend's round 4 of GNFL footy. Rovers play Chapman Valley, so Chapman Valley go out to Greenock and play Rovers. That's a 2:30 game. Brigades play Railways. That's a 2:30 game. And the other game is Towns playing Mullawa, and that is a 2:30 game. And it's a belt-up round next weekend, the all-important belt-up round and the all-important message.
Chapman Valley going to get another shot on goal, Glenn?
Yeah, they've had some 16 shots at goal and probably 3 out on the full. So they've had as many shots on goal.
And this young bloke, he's been a great servant for Chapman Valley, premiership player, and I'm talking about the youngster there in Mitch Thompson.
Yeah, he's a beauty, isn't he? He's only 21 years of age, so a lot of upside with Mitch Thompson. So Mitch Thompson shooting on goal, 50 metres out. Deep in the pocket, shoots towards goal, and once again, Chapman Valley are offline for a minus score. So Chapman Valley can't buy a goal, so they might need to go do some goal-kicking practice.
Mitch and his brother be right in the middle of seeding at the moment, then, wouldn't
Yes, they are, but
Out
of
of
course, they're certainly doing some dry seeding at the moment for the best part. So on the Bambi scoreboard, Chapman Valley are 2 goals 14, and they trail Railways 9 goals 7. So it's 15 scoring shots to 16, but Railways have done it well, because Railways have kicked very, very well indeed. Very efficient around goals, and the same cannot be said for the Chapman Valley
got
forwards.
the goals when they were needed to be got, and certainly have made a statement this afternoon that they are the side that is setting the standard in the GNFL this season.
Yeah, and it's good that they are. It's great to see them playing well. They're a very fit side, well-coached side. They run hard, but as I said, I don't think anything can be early in the game, early in the season is probably the best thing that could happen to Chapman Valley, and they'll go back to the drawing board.
Well, now they've got something to work on, haven't they?
Yeah.
And last week, a pretty big win in the context of
to be able to
the
beat
season
Brigades
over
like that,
Brigades, yeah, and then walk away from that and say, how else can we improve? Well, they've got a bit of a lesson today.
Yeah, that's right. They've got a bit of work to do. I think their forwards have really struggled, but that's credit to the Railways defenders. The Railways defence have done really well. Chapman Valley forwards, they just haven't been able to get enough of the ball.
Well, I think too, if my memory serves me correct, you're talking about Kobe Simpson being a little bit quiet. It's actually Tyron Paper Talk, but I think they were sort of double teamed a lot today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and maybe
pressure on them, not being able to handle that pressure.
So we get a 50-metre penalty, and we go up the ground, and free kick there to young Blake Bunter, who was tackled high. And he was held on for too long, according to the umpire. Blake Bunter plays on quickly and finds the big man. And Flynn Dillon just in front of the scoreboard. Flynn Dillon goes out wide looking for the veteran in young player there, and Ben Saunders. And Ben enjoying the day today. He did get cleaned up a little bit earlier by one of his teammates, but all's good in love and war, and he survived that, which is good news. And the Railways player there, Sam Scully, ran straight into the player there, but he bounced back because Jaden Thompson took a good, strong mark. Kim Schofield kicks it back, looking up the ground, and he finds a good player there in Ruben Ulrich, who did well. Ruben takes a good mark, plays on, finds Jesse Adamini. Jesse Adamini on centre wing, goes with a short pass, finds Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney breaks across the centre, kicks it forward, looking up there for Ben Saunders again. So 2:14:26. To Railways, 9-7-61 on the Bambi scoreboard. 61 plays 26 as the ball goes from Ben Saunders across to Blake Bunter. Bunter goes back towards Matt Kimberley. Kimberley goes back towards Ben Saunders, who takes a slip catch and marks 55 metres from goal. So he'll be a pretty tired man today, as will the rest of the Railways players and all the players of both sides, because it's been pretty warm conditions this afternoon. Ball goes forward, and the mark is taken back there by Chapman Valley player. And Chapman Valley have it through the player in Bogognio. He goes with a short pass to Kim Schofield by hand to Jaden. Back to Kim. Kim Schofield comes out towards centre wing. Looking out here for Tommy Waugh. Tommy Waugh sees the ball, goes the way of Scott. Scott goes back towards Williams. Williams goes the way of Chris Scott. Chris Scott kicks it forward. Looking up there for Flynn Dillon. He couldn't mark. He was under a fair bit of pressure. Goes to ground. Jace Price is there. In goes Schofield and socket off the ground. Out of bounds on the full. And good pressure there from Chapman Valley
just
defence.
An interesting stat as we head toward the latter stages of this game. Both sides have had 16 shots apiece
on the
board, which is an interesting stat in itself.
It is, very much so. So shows the importance of kicking goals and
that's
doing it efficiently.
That you had in your Ford 50 just as many times.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there's a lot of positives that I'm sure Jaden Schofield will take from today's game. One of them would be the performance of the backman, and probably one of the downside would be the performance of the forwards who have been struggled against the tightness of the Railways' defence.
Kim Schofield's gone quiet in the second half, hasn't he?
Yeah, he probably run himself into the ground in the first half, as goes the way of a Railways player who's tackled, and the umpire said, throw it to me and I'll throw the ball up. So time running out. Dying stages of this term. We're into time on.
Chapman Valley
in
next
this
week,
quarter.
Glenn. Who do they play?
They play Rovers
at
Rovers. So
they'll want to rebound well, won't they?
Yeah, you'd expect them to. They've got a lot of good players still pushing for positions.
Elliot Delaney shooting on goal.
So Elliot Delaney, he's been very good this afternoon. Elliot has kicked some 3 goals.
He's a real opportunist. Give him an inch, he'll take a yard, this player.
Yeah, and he loves kicking a goal, does Elliot, as most people do. So Elliot doing very well. So Elliot kicks towards the centre of the ground, gives an opportunity to Flynn Dillon. Ball goes over the back. And Blake Bunter stands his ground and takes a very good mark. So Blake Bunter has the last shot of the day. So Blake Bunter shooting on goal. And it'll be the 16th scoring entry for Railways. And let's see how Blake goes. He is